Hey folks, what's going on? Roland Martin here. Glad to be with you on this day. So here's the deal. I was supposed to, first of all, I just landed. I mean, literally, as you see, I just landed. I just got off of the plane. I spoke at Alabama A&M today. My plane landed at 7 o'clock, and then I drove home, and then when I landed, I obviously was met by a deluge of text messages from people, tweets from people, all about these comments that Donald Trump made today in a meeting at the White House. So there's been all this different commentary. It's been all kind of different stuff out there, and I'm just trying to understand what. So let me let me break this down, because what's happening is you're seeing a lot of people who are responding emotionally. They're saying, "Oh my God, this is racist." I mean, they're just going. I mean, all of this righteous indignation is coming from all of these media people, as if this isn't who Donald Trump is. So here's the deal. In a meeting today that Donald Trump had with various United States senators, but they were talking about a DACA deal. Donald Trump said this: why does the United States want all these people from shithole countries? We need more people from Norway. Okay. This is what Trump said. Now, earlier, of course, he met with the Prime Minister of Norway earlier this week. The Washington Post reported the story, and the White House has not denied. So let me break this thing down before I really get into the comments themselves. So Trump made this comment today at a meeting with the United States senators, Democrat or Republican. Here's the first thing. Why hasn't a Democrat or Republican senator who was in the meeting come out to verify these comments? Why hasn't a Democrat or Republican who was in the meeting come out and say, yes, I was in the meeting, that is exactly what Donald Trump said? All we have right now is someone in the meeting telling the Washington Post what was said. The White House also is not denying these comments. In fact, this was a statement released by Raj Shah that, quote, certain Washington politicians choose to fight for foreign countries, but President Trump will always fight for the American people. The White House is not denying Trump said this. I want y'all to think about that for a second. So let me just deal with that. Second thing is, you've got Republicans who are silent. Senator Orrin Hatch has said there needs to be more context in terms of this. But Republican Mia Love, who is Haitian, issued this statement. She's from Utah. She said, the president's comments are unkind, divisive, elitist, and fly in the face of our nation's values. This behavior is unacceptable from the leader of our nation. My parents came from one of those countries, but proudly took an oath of allegiance to the United States and took on the responsibilities of everything that being a citizen comes with. They never took a thing from our federal government. They worked hard, paid taxes, and rose from nothing to take care of and provide opportunities for their children. They taught their children to do the same. That's the American dream. The president must apologize to both the American people and the nations he so wantonly maligned. That is Mia Love. Okay, you guys are saying there's no sound. I don't understand why you're saying there's no sound. I just, first of all, on Periscope, if there's no sound, it's your phone. Because I literally just plugged up, I just connected to Periscope and I had the sound. In fact, I can hear me talking right now if I turn my microphone up. So you do have sound. So if you're not, so if you got a problem with sound on Facebook or Periscope or YouTube, it ain't me, it's your app. So just want to go ahead and tell you that. So let me get back to these comments here. Okay, it is sound on Periscope, folks. So you need, if you can't hear on Periscope, close the app out, reopen the app. But there is sound. I literally just heard it. I just played it. So I'm just letting y'all know. So let me go back to this. And this is all, it's all rushed here because literally I was supposed to be coming home, packed, come flying to LA at 8:30 in the morning for the NAACP Image Awards. So Trump is getting blasted left and right for these comments, as he should. And so I'm looking at all of these different people. I'm looking at all these folks. I'm looking at, you know, I'm looking at all these folks commenting. And do you know why I'm laughing? I'm certainly not laughing, but what I'm trying to understand, why are people shocked? Oh my God, this is just, I just can't believe this. I can't believe these things that he would say. Why? He opened his campaign with a racial attack on Mexicans. Why are you shocked? This is who he is. This is what he thinks. This is what he feels. This is the guy, oh, to black folks, what the hell do you have to lose? This, he has no, he's uncouth. He has no understanding of people. He has no understanding of what folks think. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. And let me be real clear. His supporters don't care. Do you understand what I'm saying? Joe Arpaio was on with Ari Melber tonight. He said, there's nothing Donald Trump can say I don't agree with. He's a flat out racist. He's an 85-year-old racist. Donald Trump's 71, 72, whatever he is. That's what they are. This is no shock. And so while people are expressing righteous indignation, what do y'all think? Hashtag we tried to tell you. Y'all, if you listen to the speech that I gave earlier today at Alabama A&M, I talked about this. I literally talked about this. I said there's a fear in America over the browning of America. There is this desire for America to still be white. That's what this is. We're going to call this what it is. There is a fear of the browning of America. You see the flag behind me? This flag came from the set of my TV One show, Washington Watch. Infused in this flag, Howard designed all these images of African Americans. The stars here. If you look at the stars on here, you got Mahalia Jackson, Colin Powell, Will Smith. You've got Madam C.J. Walker, Max Robinson. You've got Huey P. Newton. You've got Harriet Tubman, Dorothy Height. You've got Arthur Ashe, Spike Lee. You got Hank Aaron, Michael Jordan, Sidney Poitier, Oprah, Frederick Douglass, Richard Pryor. You've got Paul Robeson. You've got Stevie Wonder. You got Michelle Obama. You've got Josephine Baker, Ray Charles, Quincy Jones. You got Maya Angelou. You've got Rosa Parks, Miles Davis, Dick Gregory. You've got, yes, like I say, Paul Robeson, Tiger Woods. You've got Jackie Robinson. You've got Ralph Abernathy. You've got Coretta Scott King. You got Ben Carson. up here. You got Lorraine Hansberry. You got Adam Clayton Powell. You've got Richard Roundtree, Michael Jackson, Condoleezza Rice, Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, and I think, so there are about three. Let's see here, Garrett T. Morgan. These are all African Americans. Sidney Poitier, Colin Powell. Two great Americans, but guess what? Parents immigrated from Caribbean countries. Those are the very countries Donald Trump talks about. Malcolm X, daddy, same thing, from one of those countries, one of those shithole countries. That's how he feels. We need more folks from Norway. What do you think that means? This plays right into the hands of what his supporters think. They're not going to abandon him. They're going to praise him. David Duke will praise him. Richard Spencer will praise him. They will love this. They will tout this. So I need you to understand that. But what did I also tell y'all the other day? They're going to come after us because of voter suppression, because of what we did in Alabama, because what happened with black women turning out in massive numbers in 2008 and 2012, because that is power. Donald Trump and people like him don't like the browning of America. They want America to remain a white nation. They see folks who look like me as a threat. I'm one of those people. On my mom's side, my mom's father, my grandfather, his folks, his parents migrated from Haiti to Louisiana. I am a descendant of Haitians. And so Donald Trump is talking about folks like me. He doesn't want folks like me in America. His supporters don't want that because they believe we are the reason that they don't have jobs. Because they want this to be the America in the 1950s when black folks had both feet, the nation's feet on their necks and on their backs, kicking them, belittling them, degrading them. That's what they desire. And so I keep telling y'all, stop falling for the okie doke. Stop falling for the misdirection. If you want to respond, you don't just express anger and resentment to what he said. In fact, when the story broke earlier today, according to media reports, he was actually taping his MLK address. The White House shouldn't even release that because it's frankly a waste of time. But I need y'all to listen to me and what I'm trying to explain to you. You get back at Donald Trump at the ballot box. You defeat those who support him and his policies. You defeat those who support his viewpoints. That's how you do it. You defeat those by ensuring that our kids get an education. This is what I said today in Alabama A&M. That the lecture series was called Beyond Normal Lecture Series. And that's the piece. Trump wants this to be normal, and it can't be. It can't be. And what we must stop doing is somehow falling in line and going, oh my God, I can't believe what he said it because he's done it before. This is who he is. He is not going to change. So if he is not going to change, then what are we supposed to do? So you can sit here and you can get mad. You can get mad, you can get angry, you can do all of those things. But see, that's just not how I'm going to do it. And that is, you beat them and you embarrass them at the ballot box. That's how you do it. March 25th, 1965, Dr. King gave a speech called, Our God is Marching On. How long, not long. He gave the speech on the steps of the state capitol in Montgomery, Alabama. And this speech came at the conclusion of the march from Selma to Montgomery. It was about voting rights. And I'm giving you somewhat of what I said today at Alabama A&M, because you see Trump's people and his supporters in the media who all of a sudden are feigning their, oh my God, I can't believe he said these things. What they are doing is they want to normalize this. See, this is only the latest crazy thing Trump has said. They want to normalize this. Do you hear me? This is what Dr. King said on March 25th, 1965. When will Martin Luther King, he said, I know there's a cry today in Alabama. We see it in numerous editorials. When will Martin Luther King, SCLC, SNCC, and all of these civil rights agitators and all of the white clergymen and labor leaders and students and others get out of our community and let Alabama return to normalcy? This is what King said, 1965. But I have a message that I would like to leave with Alabama this evening. That is exactly what we don't want. And we will not allow it to happen. For we know that it was normalcy in Marion that led to the brutal murder of Jimmy Lee Jackson. It was normalcy in Birmingham that led to the murder on Sunday morning of 4 beautiful, unoffending, innocent girls. It was normalcy on Highway 80 that led state troopers to use tear gas and horses and billy clubs against unarmed human beings who were simply marching for justice. It was normalcy by a cafe in Selma, Alabama, that led to the brutal beating of Reverend James Reeb. It is normalcy all over our country, which leaves the Negro perishing on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of vast ocean of material prosperity. It is normalcy all over Alabama that prevents the Negro from becoming a registered voter. No, we will not allow Alabama to return to normalcy. The only normalcy that we will settle for is the normalcy that recognizes the dignity and worth of all of God's children. The only normalcy that we will settle for is the normalcy that allows judgment to run down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. The only normalcy that we will settle for is the normalcy of brotherhood, the normalcy of true peace, the normalcy of justice. That was Dr. King, March 25th, 1965. You can listen to that Our God is Marching On speech that he gave in Montgomery. Why am I reading that? Because the Republican Party and even some Democrats and even some people in media want to all of a sudden act like, oh my God, Donald Trump has offended their sensibilities by calling these countries shitholes. Well, please tell me, how has America treated Haiti? Rich Lowry was on the National Review. He was on Aaron Burnett's show. And he began to talk about how these countries are rife with civil war and these people are illiterate, they're not educated. Well, you then tell me, how did Haiti get that way when those freed slaves got their own independence? America abandoned them because they said, how dare you get your freedom? Haiti to this day has not recovered from having to pay pay them back for their own freedom. Yes, they had to pay for their own freedom. Have you ever heard that? Did the 13 colonies have to pay England for their freedom? How many African nations were raped, colonized, precious commodities stolen, and then you want to call them shitholes? Don't think for a second, folks, that if Donald Trump thinks that about Haiti and thinks that about African nations, that he is thinking the exact same thing about Chicago and about Birmingham and Memphis and Detroit and Cleveland. He's thinking the same thing about these communities where people of color live, where they are existing. Oh, but he does not want to even go into those communities, ventures into those communities. When has he sat down, had a conversation with black media? He has not, nor will he. He is going to go through 4 years of being in the Oval Office, barring impeachment, where he has no desire to talk to any of us because, frankly, he sees us the same way he sees Haitians. He doesn't want them in the country. Don't allow the righteous indignation of national media to deter you and sway you from what is at hand. What is at hand is for people of conscience to beat them and to inflict pain where it hurts, and that is at the ballot box. This should redouble your effort to make it clear that we are not going to be silent and stand and be idle bystanders by as democracy passes us by. No, this is when we have to begin to flex our muscles and use our power. This is when we should be saying that at a bare minimum, we want to see 75% black turnout. So when you have these places and you have 20 and 30% turnout overall, that's fine for them, but we should be turning out in record numbers. We should be right now, every single day, you're trying to figure out how do we change the condition. You should replay these shithole comments by Donald Trump and say that should be galvanizing folks in Mississippi, in Alabama, in Tennessee, in Arkansas, in Georgia, in Florida, in Ohio, in North Carolina, in South Carolina, and on and on. Some of you are sitting here watching me right now and you're saying, well, I just don't think that voting is going to play any difference whatsoever. Oh, but that's how we got him in the Oval Office. It's because folks didn't vote and some did vote. I'm trying to tell you right now, the only way you beat evil is you beat evil back with strength. You shine light in dark spaces, and that's what we have. We have allowed evil to come into the Oval Office. But guess what? Black people have always had to save America. We've always had to teach America what it means to be a democracy. That is how you defeat Trumpism. You say you want to somehow rule the world. You somehow want to put folks in this position. Oh, that's fine. Well, then we're going to respond accordingly. And that's what has to happen. You can respond to Trump's shithole comment emotionally. Okay. I won't. Because see, this is the moment where I'm planning, where I'm plotting, where I'm focusing, where I'm calling out the very people who won't say anything. I am sitting here looking at folks and saying, are you going to say something? Are you going to condemn this? But not just condemn. Are you then going to go along with the policy? A statement of condemnation is one thing, but voting along with that agenda is something else. That's the question you have to ask yourself. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to turn the television on, and you're going to turn to CNN. You're going to turn to MSNBC. You're going to turn to Fox. And tomorrow's going on ABC and CBS and NBC, and you're going to have all of these people of color from different people from different backgrounds. And it's amazing how they're able to find people of color on so-called people of color stories, but not on just typical other tax story or public policy stories. But I digress. They're going to talk about this for the next 24, 48 hours. Is he going to apologize? Nah. He's going to call it fake news. He's going to deny he said it. But the question is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? King said, now is the time. Multiple times in his speech on August 28, 1963, the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Now is the time. Well, the question for me is, what time is it for you? Time for you to be emotional? Time for you to be mad, upset, pissed off, angry? Time to throw stuff? Time to yell, holler, scream? What time is it? Or is it time for action? Is it time for organizing? Is it time for mobilizing? Is it time for pooling resources? Is it time for us to flex our power and our muscle, and for us to show our haters what our unity looks like? Imagine what would happen if we hit 75% black turnout in critical states in these local, state, and congressional elections in 2018. It would send an earthquake through this country. It would shock the system. I think it's time for us to shock the system. And then when Trump looks up and see how he responded, then that's when you say, hello, Trump. Say hello to the shithole brigade. These are the people who you thought were not worthy, but they showed you they were worthy by turning out in massive numbers, and not only beating you, but beating those who think and act like you. It's time for us to show America our power. It's time for America to see black power. It's time for America to experience what it feels like when we are focused and we mobilize and organize. And if you're listening to me right now and you're not black, that's fine. You can be white, you can be Asian, you can be Latino, you can be Native American. And you can organize in your communities as well, and we can all vote together. This is a time for people of conscience to stand up. This is a time for people to stop making excuses. This is a time to defeat evil. You need to decide whether you're more focused tweeting or Instagramming or Snapchatting or updating on Facebook about it, or are you going to use those tools to mobilize your friends, your family members, your church members, and your neighbors? The title of that August 28th, 1963 speech, the original title, was Normalcy No More. King said in Montgomery, we're not returning to normal. Don't allow mainstream America to normalize the ignorance and the stupidity of Donald Trump. It's time for us to get to work. Hit me on Snapchat at Roland S. Martin, Instagram at Roland S. Martin. Hit me on Twitter at Roland S. Martin. You can also follow me on Facebook as well. Go to my digital site, allthat.tv. I'm traveling to Los Angeles. I shall see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.